Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a review of The Monster Men, Heart of Wrath, Issue 2 from American Mythology. So this is part of the Edgar Rice Burroughs universe, and Edgar Rice Burroughs is the creator of Tarzan and John Carter of Mars, and American Mythology does comics of some of his lesser-known works, like Monster Men. One bit of housekeeping before we get started. Last week I did a review of Carson of Venus, Eye of Amtor, number 3, which was part of the same line of comics. And Mike Wolfer, who does a lot of the writing chores on these comics, actually left a comment and gave a tremendous amount of insight into that miniseries, and especially that ending that I thought was kind of unusual. So, like I said, read that miniseries, but then afterwards, please go look at my review and see that comment to get, kind of a little bit of director's commentary on that miniseries. I really appreciate Mr. Wolf for leaving that comment. But anyway, so let's talk about this, which is also written by Mike Wolfer. But let's take a look at this cover first. So it's an effective cover, I think. If you look really closely at, maybe the rendering and, the way the fire is colored or something, it gets a little sketchier, but, a little rougher. But just taken as a whole, the way you're going to look at it when you're displaying it or looking at it on the shelf, I think it's a very strong cover. We have a monster, going towards this woman with holding a gun towards him, fire everywhere. It really sets, kind of sets a mood and a tone that's appropriate. This scene doesn't quite appear in here, but it's close enough. The artwork in this issue by Alan Martinez continues to be excellent. This is a miniseries set at night, and it really, really captures night and shadow and just kind of that feel of dread about being surrounded by darkness and not knowing what's out there very, very well. And there's just something about the way that this miniseries is both written and drawn that just works so well, and just again really capture a sense of horror at night in a way I've never really felt before in a comic book. It really feels like you're out there with them, in the wilderness, in a pitch black starless night. And so it continues the story from the first issue and the Monster Men special. And I highly recommend starting with the special and then getting this miniseries. But there is a great recap at the beginning. They do every effort to orient you as a new reader. If you want to pick it up on issue 2 and work your way back, you absolutely can. But the story is fantastic. So Monster Men, the novel, was about this scientist on an island who was trying to create artificial men. Didn't quite work out. They were monster men instead. And so this is, the survivors from that novel coming back to the island that the experiments happened on to see if they missed something. And of course they did. And, the 13th subject is still alive, and this is kind of what the series revolves around. Again, it takes place at night. It's very scary. This is one of the most effective horror comics I've ever read. I mean, it's a great comic book, but it's also a great experience. If you want to see what the medium can do with storytelling at night and suspense and horror, this is a great book to pick up. There have been a lot of guys who've dealt with nighttime and shadow, like Frank Miller would do Sin City, at night, and he would carve out these images out of darkness. But that was crime noir, and there have been plenty of other artists who've done it well, Tom Mandrake or John Bolton or somebody like this. But there's just something special and unique about this miniseries. And there's something about the subject matter that adds to that too, because it was written a century ago, so it doesn't have, a lot of the science fiction and fantasy tropes that we have now with like magic and werewolves and, super crazy mutants and stuff like that. Instead, this is just something that feels almost plausible about, a science scientific experiment to create men that goes awry and create something that's a little devolved, something we can recognize as a man, but isn't quite a man, and there's something, just kind of primal and scary about that. And it just creates a very unique experience that I'm really, really loving. So this is a 3-issue miniseries, and so it has 1 issue left, and that's going to come out in November. I don't mind that because I'd rather them take their time and get this right. I mean, I've loved everything with this so far, and I don't have the 3rd issue, so I can't say like, oh, well, this is the best miniseries they put out, because I don't have the final issue yet, obviously. But I have faith, and I think they're taking their time, they're doing this right. And it really feels like there's more to this than it's going to be able to be wrapped up in 3 issues. And so if that's the case, and I hope it is, because I would love to read more of this, take your time. Do not switch out anyone on this creative team. This is perfect. This is the best thing American mythology has done with Edgar Rice Burroughs, and I absolutely adore it. And one thing I forgot to show you guys last review was they have put out the advertisement for the brand new Moon Maid they'll be putting out. This will be new Moon Maid, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. It looks cool. And then there are Land That Time Forgot series is coming out. So at the end of October, you're going to get Zorro in the Land That Time Forgot, or at least that's when it's solicited right now. Obviously, everything's subject to change in the comic industry, but Zorro in the Land That Time Forgot should be the next one to come out at the end of October. Hopefully, it'll be worth the wait as well. And then in November, we'll get the Land That Time Forgot Fearless, which will actually go back in time and tell a story with the characters from the novels, but also Sita the Savage as well. So, because, why not? Looking forward to all of that. If you want your American mythology comics, you really need to ask for them. This is a line that is or a company that unfortunately comic shops really don't order a lot of. I have to request every single copy that my comic shop gets. So if you want them, go to your comic shop, ask them to order it. And like I said, they can order stuff that is a back issue, as long as it's come out within the last so many months, if you want to do that. Or you can just go get them from American Mythology's website as well, or other online comic retailers, eBay, things like that. All right, guys, like and subscribe for more videos, and until next time, see ya.